April 21st, 1729, a young girl named Sophie Frederick August was born in Germany. She was the daughter of a minor German prince, Christian August, and Princess Johanna Elizabeth of Holstein-Gottorp. At that time, no one imagined that she would be the person who would overthrow her husband and become one of the greatest emperors of Russia. There was a huge age gap between Johanna and Christian, and their marriage came from the desire for power instead of love, so it was not a pleasant marriage at all. The unpleasant marriage produced a sad childhood for young Sophie. Aside from this, Sophie also did not receive the love that she should have received from her mother, since Johanna has always wanted a boy instead of a girl. Though Johanna did not give young Sophie the love of a mother, she paved the way for her as a ruler. Johanna was an ambitious woman. She wanted her daughter to achieve a high social status in society and therefore benefit herself. Aside from her mother's ambitions, Sophie was lucky to be acquainted with Elizabeth Petrovna, the newly crowned Teresa of Russia. Elizabeth had a deep relationship with Johanna's family. Her fiancé Charles Augustus was Johanna's brother. Though the marriage never happened because of Charles' death of smallpox, Elizabeth still considered Johanna's family as her close relatives. So when young Sophie had grown to a fair lady of age 16, Teresa Elizabeth arranged the engagement of Sophie and Peter, who is the heir to the Russian throne. February 1744. Young Princess Sophie arrived at Moscow with the harsh cold weather and the winding road. Going to a foreign nation with no acquaintances for marriage is not an easy quest for a 16-year-old young girl, but this was not a problem for smart Sophie. She knows exactly the right things to do. After Sophie made the harsh journey to Russia with a snowstorm, she had a fever so severe that everyone thought she was going to die. Johanna decided to call a Lutheran priest for her funeral, yet Sophie insisted on finding a priest of the Russian Orthodox. Though the priest never did anything because Sophie miraculously recovered, Teresa Elizabeth was very pleased by this. However, the pleasing of the Teresa is not enough for Sophie to fully adapt to her new life in Russia. She has to truly understand the culture of the people. In order to do this, Sophie has to change the language she once spoke, change the religion she once believed in, and even change her original name from Sophie to Catherine. Catherine's conversion from Lutheran to Russian Orthodox was not welcomed by her father, since Christian August was a loyal Lutheran. Yet it was approved by her mother because Johanna cared more about what her marriage could bring to her instead of the religion. Catherine's husband, Peter, was the son of Anna Petrovna and Charles Frederick. Anna is Teresa Elizabeth's favorite sister, and Charles Frederick, Duke of Holstein-Gottorp, was Johanna's cousin. Born in a family like this, Peter was supposed to have a happy childhood. Unfortunately, Anna died 3 months after Peter's birth. This event left a huge trauma to young Peter's heart. The unpleasant childhood caused Peter to grow up with a childish mind and addiction to alcohol. Besides this, Peter was raised in Germany and adored Frederick II of Prussia, so he did not like his new wife who adopted Russian culture so quickly. Catherine and Peter married for a long and hard 18 years. It was a painful experience for Catherine, yet she did not waste her time on depressing or praying for God. She reads books to learn about Russian culture and enriches her knowledge. The books she read helped her greatly in her future life, and the ideas she learned from the books shaped her beliefs. One of her favorite authors was Voltaire. Catherine was very interested in enlightenment and Voltaire's idea of enlightenment. Though Catherine wrote in her memoir later that she was guided by an invisible hand to the throne, her desire for power probably first emerged from the taste for Peter's absurd action. Peter's moral behavior and private life were very questionable. He wanted to divorce Catherine, whom many loved and respected, and marry Elizabeth Vorontsova, whom many hated and despised. Though divorce was allowed in the Orthodox religion, it was considered absurd and shameful for the royals, and it was not accepted by the public. This provided Catherine an opportunity. She won the sympathy of the military and the civil people of the empire. In their eyes, Catherine was a kind and polite duchess who has been treated unfairly by her absurd husband. Her journey to power started to begin. Aside from being rude and disrespectful to his wife, Peter was also treacherous to his nation. During the war between Russia and Prussia, Peter sent Theresa Elizabeth's military plan to Frederick II of Prussia. In this action, he not only betrayed the Theresa, but also the army, the nation, and the people. This event was a turning point for both Peter and Catherine. Peter lost the support of the army and the general public. Now everyone has seen clearly who is more loyal to their nation and their religion. Despite Peter's treason, Prussia was still defeated. This was the last battle Theresa Elizabeth won. December 25th, 1761. Theresa Elizabeth laid on her bed in the cold winter palace and never opened her eyes again. A great era of Theresa Elizabeth's reign has ended, yet a greater era of Catherine's reign has yet to begin. On the day of the funeral, Catherine wore black and accompanied Theresa Elizabeth, while Peter, now Peter III, was having a ball with his friends. Under the bright moon and the starry night, near the great Theresa's grave, power is calling Catherine, yet she knows it's not time yet. Shortly after Elizabeth's death, Peter ordered Catherine arrested and taken to Schlusselburg fortress just because he thinks Catherine did not respect him during a ball, which was obviously his illusion. This order was not implemented because of the help of Commander George, Catherine's uncle, but this was what Catherine had been waiting for. She knew that the time had come. On June 12th, Peter left St. Petersburg to drill his 1,400 Holstein soldiers before sending them to war. Catherine decided to take advantage of the fact that Peter was not in the capital. However, Peter had suspicions of her action, so he ordered Catherine to travel to Peterhof on June 17th. Catherine obeyed the order, but she left Paul, who was her son with Peter and the heir to the Russian throne, behind in the capital with Count Feign as a precaution. Before following Catherine on her journey to the throne, we must first know her allies. Catherine was a woman and a foreigner. It is nearly impossible for her to achieve what she did without the help of her allies. She needs support from prestigious people in the empire. This will make sure her power is secure. The success of the overthrow was crafted by Catherine and her allies, not just herself. Catherine has three important allies. The first one is Count Nikita Pan. Count Pan thinks Peter is too naive and should be abolished. He hopes the young Paul could be the Tsar and Catherine the regent. This was his purpose in helping Catherine, yet he didn't realize that Catherine had a stronger ambition. The second one is Gregory Orlov. Gregory was Catherine's lover. He and his brother helped Catherine win the support of the guards and the soldiers. The third one is Princess Catherine Dashkova. Dashkova was the sister of Peter's lovers, Elizabeth, yet she supported Catherine. Princess Dashkova met Catherine because they both cherished Enlightenment ideas. To her, Catherine is like an older sister. Dashkova believed that Catherine is the savior of nation. In her memoir, Dashkova wrote, "I saw how little my country had to hope from the Grand Duke." Dashkova helped Catherine on planning the overthrow. While Catherine was in Peterhof, the Orlov brothers passed out money and wine to the soldiers in the barrack, all under the name of Catherine II, Her Majesty the Theresa. At the same time in the royal capital, Count Rizmovsky, colonel of the Izmailovsky Guard Regiment, secretly printed copies of a manifesto, written by Feign and approved by Catherine, declaring that Peter III had abdicated and that Catherine had assumed the throne. The risk for this action was really high, but they knew they had a trump card, that is, the people. Those insignificant common people seem irrelevant to the royal change in power, yet they are the key to winning. Every successful ruler of the coup is chosen by the people. The preparation of the overthrow progressed smoothly with the help of Catherine's allies. It is a very strong plan, yet plan never keeps up with changes. On the evening of June 27th, one of the soldiers who supported Catherine was captured. He revealed the plan to Peter. Though Peter did not take it seriously, Catherine started the overthrow early to avoid any unexpected risks. On the morning of June 28th, Alexis, Gregory's brother, went to escort Catherine to the barracks of the Izmailski Guard from Peterhof. Catherine told the guard that her and her son's life was threatened. She came to the barracks to seek protection for their beloved country and the Orthodox religion. The regimental chaplain and the guards administered an oath of allegiance to Catherine II of Russia. Escorted by the guards and surrounded by the cheering crowd, Catherine entered St. Petersburg. There, the Archbishop solemnly proclaimed her sovereign autocrat Catherine II and her son, Paul Petrovich, heir to the throne. The nation swore loyalty to its Teresa. At the same time, the young Teresa swore loyalty to the nation and the people. After Catherine claimed the throne, her next step was to arrest Peter. She had herself proclaimed colonel of the Preobrazhensky Guards and went to arrest Peter herself. Peter knows that there's no place left for him, so he fled with Elizabeth. Before that, he once tried to send Elizabeth's father, Vorontsov, who was the Chancellor of Russia, to persuade Catherine to give up the throne. Yet when Catherine pointed at the people and said to Vorontsov, "Deliver your message to them, sir. It is they who command here, I only obey." Vorontsov admitted that Catherine would be one of the greatest leaders of Russia, and asked to be relieved of all his office and duties. By then, Peter gave up his resistance and abdicated. A week later, on July 17th, he died of a severe attack of paranoidal colic at age 34. Some say that he was assassinated, but that would be a discussion for later. Now, the time of Catherine II has just begun.